Strangely enough, one of the Lion King sequel ideas I had in my head as a kid was this idea where aliens and UFOs would invade the Pride Lands and Simba, Nala, Timon, and Pumbaa would have to fight them. That was a really strange idea. Hey everybody, Blood Moon Bobby here, and welcome to October. I hope you really liked the Halloween intro my sister Penny created. It was basically a mix of Luigi's Mansion music with visuals inspired by the Owl House. So I thought that was a really good idea when she told me about it, and I'm really happy with this intro. So we're here today to talk about the Lion King remake. Why am I talking about this movie at this point in time? It's because one, I did trailer reactions of this movie back when it was coming out, and it was a matter of time before I finally sat down and watched and reviewed this movie. And also because there's news that Disney wants to make a follow-up to this Lion King remake. So what exactly is the Lion King remake about? In case you don't know the story of the Lion King, it is about a lion cub named Simba who is expected to rule over the Pride Land someday, eventually succeeding his father Mufasa, played by James Earl Jones. But Simba's uncle Scar, played by Chiwetel Ejiofor of 12 Years a Slave fame, and plots to take over the land by killing Mufasa and getting rid of Simba. So, what did I personally think of this movie? I actually kind of like this movie more than I expected. I went into this movie thinking that I was going to go in seeing a movie that would be way too similar to the 1994 film. But as a movie, I thought it had really great effects and really great acting. Although the movie does have some problems with some of its musical scenes and pacing in certain parts of the film. I'll start by talking about what I personally liked about this movie. So, again, really like the effects. I heard a lot about them. I heard they were used in the Jungle Book remake, which I didn't see, so I was really glad that I finally got to see it in a feature film. And they looked really good. The environments were convincing. The characters were photorealistic, not looking awkward at all. They really did look like real animals, real lions, hyenas, warthogs, and wildebeests. Another thing that I also thought was really great about this movie was most of the acting. James Earl Jones, once again, is really good as Mufasa. Chiwetel Ejiofor plays a really intimidating Scar, who is also a really great manipulator. And I like the two actors that played young Simba and adult Simba. I thought both were really good. I especially really liked the angelic energy that the actor who played young Simba brought. It really got into his character, and I was really excited to hear that he was eventually going to rule over the Pride Land someday. He brought a lot of charisma to the role, and I thought he did a really good job with it. And here are three scenes that I really liked in this Lion King remake. I really liked the intro scene with Circle of Life. It was a really faithful retelling of the opening of the 1994 film. I thought it was really well done. It really got me pumped. It really got me excited for this movie. And I really like seeing Rafiki. He rise, bring Simba up, and all the animals getting excited to see their future Lion King. I thought the intro was done really well. Another scene I also really liked was the gorge scene with the wildebeest. It was really intense, and I really wanted to see Mufasa save Simba from this stampede. And when I was watching Mufasa climb up the ledge, I really didn't want to see what was going on. I really didn't want to see him die, but I knew what was coming because I've seen the 1994 film, and of course Scar kills him. But overall, I thought the scene was done really brilliantly, and it really got me pumped up. And the last scene I also thought was really, really great was the climax, the scene where Simba comes back and he and his friends team up to battle Scar and the hyenas, and it was really well done. I really liked the dark lighting and the orange color palette. And the acting in the scene really made me feel the emotions of the characters and get me invested and made me want to see Simba and his friends defeat Scar. So, yeah, the climax was also really well done. As for what I didn't like about the Lion King remake, as much as I really like the photorealistic effects and making the characters and environments look realistic, one of the downsides of telling this story with this medium is that you're not able to get really vivid facial expressions like you could in the 1994 animated film, because they would look really out of place in this realistic style. Like, you wouldn't really see lions and all these animals have, like, really big smiles or get really looking as angry, or just not being able to capture as many emotions as you could in that 1994 film. So most of the emotions have to come from either the voice acting or the actions of the characters, which can get across the emotions in some scenes. Like I mentioned, they're able to get across the emotions in scenes like the gorge scene or the climax. I thought those were done pretty well, but especially when it came to song sequences like Be Prepared or I Just Can't Wait to Be King, you can't really get the facial expressions of the characters in those scenes because they would look really out of place. So as a result, in those two particular song scenes, the characters just kind of run along with the other animals and so forth, but you really don't get the emotion. You really can't get the emotions on their faces. And of course, you certainly can't do the thing in I Just Can't Wait to Be King where the animals are like on top of each other and the color palette changes. And then Be Prepared, because they're trying to be more realistic, you can't have Scar going around getting the hyenas hyped up. You can't really do that really scary looking hyena march, or certainly not have like all the rocks, rising up as Scar and the hyenas finish up their song. So those kind of scenes just kind of got lost in translation when going from the 1994 film the to this remake. Again, some scenes I think they were able to get across the emotions just fine, but those song sequences, not as much. Another downside of telling the story through this realistic looking medium is it kind of makes the more comedic scenes in this movie, particularly the scenes with Timon and Pumbaa and their friends, seem really out of place, because you wouldn't see animals talk, but you certainly wouldn't hear them use a lot of modern talk, and I think they overused fart jokes on Pumbaa. And this kind of came back to mind. There's a scene where Timon and Pumbaa are trying to pose as bait for the hyenas, and they reference Be Our Guest, like Be Our Guest from Beauty and the Beast, and I just felt that joke in particular it was really out of place, and yeah, just felt it's really awkward. Also, something I didn't really like that much was I felt some of the new scenes they put in this movie, he felt kind of necessary. Like, one of the new scenes they put in was they actually show how Nala made her escape from Pride Rock in order to go seek help and eventually meet Simba. And it's nice, I guess, like, that they show how she did it, but it wasn't really a detail I really needed to see per se. And I just felt that it sort of made it just kind of slowed down the pacing of the movie for me. The same goes for the scene that follows, where we see Simba, Timon, and Pumbaa hang out with their friends, and I just kind of felt that it just kind of made the scene feel really lengthy. And like I said, I really didn't get into the humor in those scenes because they just felt sort of out of place. And another scene I also thought got a little too lengthy was when Rafiki finds out Simba is alive. So this time what they do is they have a piece of Simba's mane start to go down the land, and it comes past all these other characters, like a giraffe accidentally eats it. It comes out as part of its poop. That this beetle rolls around. The piece of the mane falls out of the poop, and it is picked up by this ant, and Rafiki, of course, picks it up and says, "Oh my God, Simba is alive." And I just felt that it was kind of lengthy. I guess you could say it sort of plays into the message of all the animals are connected, but which I could understand, but I felt the pacing in that scene was really kind of lengthy. And speaking of length, I feel the pacing in this remake could get inconsistent at times. What I mean by that is the first act of this movie was really well paced. The second act slowed down a little too much. Again, mainly with the scenes like showing Nala escaping Pride Rock, or the scene with Timon, Pumbaa, and friends, or the scene where the piece of Simba's mane makes it down to Rafiki. I kind of feel that extending those scenes or adding new scenes in the middle just slowed down the pacing for me. and I just kind of felt they were unnecessary to put in. I understand they want to put new things in so that it's not just a copy and paste remake of Disney's 1994 film, but I felt that those additions weren't really necessary. And the third act, the beginning of the third act particularly, he went too fast for me, especially the scene where Simba sees Mufasa's spirit, which I won't give away how they show that in this movie, but I just felt that the scene went a little too fast. It didn't really give time for the emotion to sink in. It would be nice if they could have maybe had a scene where Rafiki had one more conversation with Simba. Maybe it doesn't need to be the exact same conversation where Rafiki teaches Simba that the past can hurt, but you could either learn from it or run from it. But maybe have some scene where maybe Simba is walking around and thinking about what he just talked about with his father, or something to make the emotions of that scene sink in, because just kind of flew by. Although the good news is the rest of the third act is pretty well paced, and like I said, the climax was really well done. So overall, I thought the Lion King remake was a pretty decent movie. It was better than I expected because the effects were pretty good, and the voice acting was great. And as far as just the straightforward, like, three act structure story on its own, I would say it's a pretty competent movie. But as a remake, I kind of feel that the musical scenes didn't have as much emotional punch as the 1994 animated film. And yes, as people told me, Can You Feel the Love Tonight takes place during daylight for some reason in this version. And I also thought the pacing in some scenes in the second and third act was inconsistent. But overall, I would say it's a pretty decent film. As far as where I'd rank it among other Disney remakes, I'd say it's one step below the Cinderella remake. But I think this movie's better than the Beauty and the Beast remake, and certainly better than the Mulan remake. Because one thing that the Lion King remake got down that the Mulan remake didn't get as much was there was much more emotion in this, and I also thought the voice acting was better in this movie. So those are my thoughts on the Lion King remake. Have you seen it? What did you personally think of it? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. And until next time, this has been Blood Moon Bobby, and thank you all for watching. Hi everyone, thanks for watching this Blood Moon Bobby video. Like and share the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel to see more of my videos, and ring the bell to be notified about my latest uploads. Don't forget to follow me on social media for my latest opinions and video updates. I hope to see you next time.